Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of NewsWatch Online TV News Hour with me, Mariatu Dukure. Duazar community is one of the most deprived communities in the western part of Freetown in terms of water supply. After the 3 days lockdown to help combat the coronavirus, some residents of the community has explained to this medium the challenges that they went through during this lockdown.
Some of you never sleep. You never sleep. You get some money. You get food. Say 1 o'clock. You grab back 1 o'clock. You can't find water. Some of you never get like that. Say that 1 o'clock. Say the people there when they get water. They say sometimes people say they go reach themselves for me. They can't open their money say hour. They go physically the old them, but they reach them. I say some policeman car. You know say that water business. You know old them. They can't give people that 50 over water. They make a fight for the Almanac to try to get some of the Almanac to for it. You able to use that water for that particular day. Like right now, so when they open it, you don't know. When they open, so they open 4 o'clock morning. When they open 4 o'clock morning, some money will get, like kind of they don't know. The one that they get, they don't know, they're not open that, and then 3 o'clock. So then 3 o'clock, the food then they can open that. When they can open 3 o'clock, that's what I'm going to get back.
These 3 days knockdown, it really money away. The first thing we suffer per month, the water business will not be easy for we. Then the food, because they just take one away as they not to all be get them. For make we go eat them, not to all be get them. Even the old mommy there, the old pa them, they're vulnerable there. But then they are around. It's not be there. It not be easy for we really. It not be really easy for we. We want make government or the NGO, they make them carry side for help. This food business, this water business. The community, the knockdown, the people will all be taken to go because also be bad thing and we do for fed with sickness. But make government carry side. The next one we then go say knockdown, the food. Before ever they go make we go knockdown, not all my able to provide that 1 week on that 3 days food for more go get her for it. It's not easy. Then this water business, I mean make people that go up and down, really suffer. Even to today says if you go to the wellness, if you saw the get water, it's not easy. We rubber and they for money, go there, they take it. Sometimes they say they go to they get water because the crowd. So it not be easy. It not be really easy.
So when I get any pump talk.
Where they are called, I suffer at this water. I strain, I suffer water, I will eat too. I suffer. For me to where they call me, nobody know they can do, nobody know they do it. I strain that 3 days. But they tell government, do ya? Let them sorry for me. In a Susan, Nima, they strain, let them help me. And this word to next word.
These 3 days of down, we really fine, but no more. I really stress more for the water issue. Then they say, they come over get water. Really, these 3 days that I feel library, me and my family in the house. But no more. Even for each 7 days, it's not easy. Alhamdulillah, God will provide. Right? So, we don't conquer. Today, we don't come back again at it. We do job of data. We don't continue. Let God let the coronavirus go out of the country by the grace of Allah.
In today's edition of NewsWatch Online TV News Hour, we have a guest in the studios from the Native Consortium, founder Edmond Abu Jr., that will come and help us discuss issues surrounding the nation. The Ministry of Gender and Children's Affairs, as a way to complement government's effort to fight the spread of the COVID-19 during the lockdown, provided sanitary packs and food items to street children. Tane Conte has more on this story.
The director for Don Bosco Fambul, Father George Crisafulli, thanked the Ministry of Gender and Children's Affairs with their partners for their timely intervention to provide sanitary packs and food for the street children under their supervision.
Well, obviously this is an emergency service due to the coronavirus outbreak. And because of this lockdown the government has imposed on all the people in Sierra Leone, obviously we know that the most vulnerable children and girls, boys and girls, are those who are on the street. So following the directives of the Ministry of Gender and Children's Affairs, we decided to create a place where we can bring all these little children, boys, in this particular place, boys who are on the street, really exposed to all kind of danger, but now to this invisible enemy that we call coronavirus. So we brought them together. Today is a day of formation, sensitization, instruction, education on what is coronavirus and how to prevent the spread of the virus, especially for these children who are living on the streets. We are offering them medical services, we offer them a shower, change of clothes. We have distributed a kit, a sanitary kit, but given by the United Nations FPA. We are very grateful to them through the Ministry of Gender and Children's Affairs. Also, we received 10 bags of rice to feed the children throughout this lockdown, and we are very, very grateful to the Ministry of Gender and Children's Affairs for helping us to help others. Because, as I said, it's an extraordinary activity that this was not in our plan.
Joseph Sondesina, professional head, Ministry of Gender and Children's Affairs, in a way of complementing government's efforts to stop COVID-19 from spreading in the country, have together with their partners provided food and sanitary packs for street children across Freetown.
Well, our activities actually is like the kind of response to the emergency situation, the caring for the most vulnerable children, especially those out in the street who need care and protection. So we had organized a sanitary pack with support from our partners, and also food from WFP, which we gave to key partners that support street children. So today we are with Street Child to feed the children and the most vulnerable ones on the street. We are giving food and also sanitary pack, and also giving them message to stay off with regards observing the safe spacing and distance, social distancing, to prevent all the spread of coronavirus. So that is what so far as a ministry in response to the issue of children, especially the most vulnerable, who need care and protection.
Suleiman M. Toure, a street child, thanked Don Bosco Fambu for taking them off the streets for the 3 days lockdown, and also the Ministry of Gender and Children's Affairs for providing food for them. He also added that he will be very happy if taken off the streets for good, because he is not happy with the life he is living on the street.
Le quoi des streets so difficult to me because what the streets the advantage for me. Policeman they pass and beat like this lockdown so far, so not get self so not bless Don Bosco and streets for us suffer. Some of them come they die. You know to say so one of them die in the streets. So they strain policeman they beat even come like all in the street they lead us. Now the scene that they see difficult for in the street. I would say go thank you Don Bosco and can get that we are after ya all man if them go now them back to the streets. Well, Minister of Gender, I tell them thank you because they back bless them. Put them back put hands together for they can come here for the lockdown. They back tell them plenty thank you for you see they don't can use the provision they can give. Tell them plenty thank you. May God bless them. May God provide for the back home.
Reporting for NewsWatch Online TV, I am Tene Conte.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with the founder of the Native Consortium and a research center, Mr. Edmond Abu Jr. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So Native Consortium is definitely a name that people would have heard here and there, especially in the arena of governance. But for the better understanding of us all, once again, what does Native Consortium and Research Center stand for?
Well, of course, the Native Consortium Research Center is a civil society think tank. Of course, we are one of the leading civil society think tank on economic justice. Our signature is economic justice, things that has to do with livelihood, things that has to do with bread and butter issues, basically, because we are one of the leading partners for the IMF in the West African zone. I mean, in terms of advocacy, human rights, we deal with the economy, we deal with the fiscal issues, we deal with the monetary issues, we deal with public debts, we deal with, of course, issues where people normally they know us for petroleum.
Okay.
Things around inflation. So generally, our signature is around economic justice because these are all fundamental human rights issues. For instance, food, livelihood issues. I mean, these are the things that we'll be looking at for the past 20 years.
Okay. So before we come into the corona that's ongoing right now, what was your role to the decrease of this fuel price, even though there was a commotion here or there. But how did Native Consortium come in?
Well, everybody knows that. I mean, the whole public, they know that when you talk of fuel, I mean, you won't talk about fuel now without calling the Native Consortium. Of course, we were, in advocacy, you have the hard power, we have the soft power approach. Now, of course, we have the corona. Firstly, I want to thank the NewsWatch. I have to thank your medium. I mean, they help, propagate some of our issues around the telecoms. So you guys are doing a very great job. So we actually use the soft power approach by reminding, constantly sending calculations, projections, looking at the fuel prices, looking at the Platts, looking at when the world market price plummets in the world, when the price of the fuel plummets in the world market, we often send a message to the Ministry of Trade. I mean, we want to commend the Ministry of Trade for once. We've been fighting sometimes, but at least for once, I mean, we push more release. Actually, we push for 6.5 because the fuel price plummeted by more than 50% in the world market.
So it should actually be down to what price?
Well, some people say it's supposed to reduce by 50%. It doesn't go that way. Of course, our reduction here is about 18 to 20%. That's the reduction we did here. I mean, the 1.5. In fact, firstly, they reduced 500, and we told them no, this is unacceptable. In fact, we told the Minister of Trade at the period that is witchcraft economy. By then, the reduction was like between $40 to $30 per barrel. And as we go towards going down now to the last 1-2 weeks, then the fuel price plummeted further by it went to the lowest of the low to about $20 per barrel. And then we also reminded the Minister of Trade. We told him about the Nigeria, their own reduction and other places. So at the end of the day, of course, they were moved, and they know that, of course, it is inevitable we need to reduce our pump price of fuel because it's about the demand and supply. The prices of fuel is largely determined by two variables. One, by the foreign exchange variables, meaning the exchange rates, if your dollar of the millions depreciate, or when the fuel price increase in the world market. So what happened in the world markets really is because of this corona. Like I said, it's a demand and supply mixture. Because the demand for fuel dropped because of the quarantine, the corona, and China, who happens to be the largest, who carry the biggest chunk of the demand, their demand shrink. So at the end of the day, the OPEC nations met last month. I mean, in Vienna, between Russia and Saudi Arabia, they could not reach at a point where they will agree as to what they should supply. So they had to supply. So there is what I call an oversupply over demand. So because the supply outweigh the demand, so at the end of the day,
it's higher than the demand.
Fine. So the price will.
But we do not see that the effects, like when it comes to transportation, it's the same.
Good question. In fact, since the days of Pakaba, for the past 15 years, our advocacy is not on a product. It's what we call a pass-through effect it has on basic commodities, for instance, transport price. So basically, there's a reduction in transport price. You can look at the price schedule for instance, from here to Bo, Kenema, Makeni, between the town service, pole to pole, say for instance, from Grafton to Lumley, from Waterloo to Firebone. I mean, all of those prices we agree. But even the Koda, the bike, and then of course the keke riders, all of them, they reduce them by 500, which is good. But we are not.
There is no effects actually.
No, for instance, if you used to take Okada for 2,000 pole to pole, and now
it's still the same 2,000.
No, well, that because of the monitoring, and that is today we're supposed to have a meeting with the drivers' union and the other unions.
In fact, now the problem, because now they've reduced the number of passengers, it's difficult on the people using this transportation medium because they impose price on it. So if you are supposed to pay 2,000 to certain place that is short, now you have to pay 3,000-4,000 to go to this place. And if the normal price is still the same, it's still 2,000. 1,500.
And I think I'm learning. I will note this down because the reduction just took place just as in the E before coming to the lockdown. So now we are just coming from the lockdown now today. So let's see how it goes. So basically, we are diametrically opposed to the 1-2 town service, for instance, from Calbaton to PZ, from Lomdi to PZ, from those short distance pole to pole town service. That used to be 1-5. Now it is 1-2. Based upon the formula, so
now it will still be 1-5
exactly
because there are no coins.
So it's pointless. I agree with you. So we supposed to meet with the transfer because according to them, they are going according to their own formula. That it is because of there was a reduction of 18%. So they also reduced by 18%. So that's their narrative. So basically, that's how it goes. So basically, that is why we are pushing for 6-5. Because if the reduction could have been 6-5, then we could have had a situation wherein the transport price per to post town service should have gone down to 1,000. Okay. Yeah. So basically, they are going strictly according to the books. So basically, that is what these are all macroeconomic variables. I mean, you touch one, it affects. They are all correlated. So basically, that is where we are. But again, like I said, we must commend because before now, people used to know. Sometimes we used to protest against the government before they reduce price. Again, in 2015, this same thing happened. Fuel price reduced in the world market. It came down to the lowest of the low. By then, it was like something like about 4.5 per liter, and we raised advocacy. By then, and the then president, they reduced the pump price of fuel from 4.5 to 3.750, and that is the time we used to say, "Oh, no touchy body. You should not take. So we should not. The driver should not take full capacity." So the reduction never reflects on the transport price because of the capacity. They were not taking passengers at full capacity. So basically, that was it. And the same thing like this one now. So basically, you are right. You are partially right. But for instance, the long distance, because mark you, if somebody is taking, for instance, G-Blocks, Kobo, just local products from Bamo Iluma, for instance, yeah, if the transport price increase, it will reflect even on Kenda and Bala, Kobo, G-Blocks, all these local products. So, by extension, if the price of the pump price of fuel reduced, is supposed to reflect on those products, not necessarily the town service. That's the point. Yeah? Because most of these local products we get them from the provinces. So that is where we think the Minister of Trade is supposed to monitor, and it should reflect.
Okay. So the day that we had our second case, the president announced that there would be a lockdown, which we just came out of. So what's your take as a Native Consortium founder, and how do you think that the 3 days was enough? And now that we have 7 cases, what's your take about that?
Okay, or you say one new case from the existing 6?
Yes.
Okay. Basically, yes. Of course, this is a global pandemic, and gradually it is highly likely it will become endemic in its sense, like HIV/AIDS. It will become a global thing that we should stand to live with it now. How? For instance, we say, okay, what's your status? Are you corona positive or negative? Something like that. Because when you look at the death rate compared to us here, we can thank God it's relatively better. And for me, we observe this lockdown. We crisscross our volunteers in the 16 political districts. We are all over the place. We have volunteers. We had report. In fact, we're supposed to present a report to Brigadier Kelly Conte by next tomorrow. Maybe just because this is the first time I'm discussing it. We observe a few things. Overall, it is successful. It was successful because people comply, and we need to congratulate our leaders for this. We need to thank the medics, the healthcare workers in the front line. We need to thank our security personnel. There are few isolated cases, but however, on the whole, I think it was successful. Of course, there are water crises, but again, like I said, I observed some places. How can you imagine somebody? You have 10 families with only 5 jerry cans, and you want to wash 3 times per day, and you want to launder. during the 3 days corona. I mean, it doesn't work like that. If you have a family of 10, you have only 5 jerry cans in your house, then naturally you have, say, you wash 1 time per day, for instance. But you cannot afford to wash, you want to take bath like 3 times per day, and then you want to launder all your I mean, these are some of the issues. So, and government gave enough time to people, so you should have had a lot of stock of water, I mean in your house. However, the Ministry of Water Resources need to scale up. I mean, there is too much of water crisis. Of course, it is perennial. It has been an old age problem. So I think government need to step up, at least to look at remote areas within the eastern of Freetown and some areas of the west, because it's a serious issue, because there are some people who don't have enough storage capacity.
No. Yep.
So these are some of the problems. So at the end of the day, these are the... So, now, to answer to your question proper, the summary, I think the government, globally, the government is fighting between life, or the government should think around when you are fighting a virus, like a pandemic like this, government should be careful. You are fighting in between life and livelihood. Life, to fight, to
save lives.
To save life because of the contagious effect of the corona, but again the livelihood issue. Because for instance, you cannot keep some people at home for because I hear people say, oh, well, let us lock down the place for 7 days, 14 days. It's just cannot. That's livelihood issue. So for us, that is why one of our recommendations to the EOC is that if you've observed that, say for instance, a particular area, say the Lunge area, or Lokomasama, one particular cluster, or let's say around the Buya Hotel at Port Loko, you see that particular cluster, that particular area, you observe that you have 2 cases. Then you put that particular cluster, that particular area, not the entire Port Loko per se, or the entire nation. You put that particular cluster on quarantine for 14 days. And then you do proper tracing and surveillance. South Korea, they never had this issue of, that's my opinion, South Korea never had a lockdown. And then, of course, look at what is happening in Kenya. Kenya, they only zip up around places like Mombasa, not the entire Nairobi, not the entire Kenya, just Nairobi. You go to DR Congo. DR Congo is struggling with six illness. One, they are struggling with malaria, which is killing people there. They are also struggling with measles. They are also struggling with cholera. They are also struggling with Ebola, and now Corona is now at their doorstep. So they are struggling. They are battling with 5 killer disease. And now what they did is to just quarantine Kinshasa itself, not the entire DR Congo. So basically, I think these are some of the things that we want to recommend to the EOC, not to zip the entire nation.
So
but you take it according to cluster. And then so you can be, in fact, it is even possible that you take that particular village or that particular town or that particular cluster, you can even help them with some food items. So at the end of the day, you strike a balance. You have a trade-off between life and livelihood. So you save life, you save livelihood. Take for instance a place like India, 1.3 billion people, they zip the entire nation. And people have to come out. Pakistan. So it is difficult. And here, mark you, it's not like in the US where people, you have to go to Amazon, you hire food, food just come, and then they just over the internet, you just hire something, and then you just have your stuff right at the doorstep. Here it's not possible like that. So basically, government need, and this is what we've been recommending to the UOC, and of course, guys within
in your reports that you'll be.
Of course, but again, we need let people start to understand, because there are people who are drumming. Oh, let us close this place for 14 days. 14 days? I mean, for real? 14 days? Look at the 3 days. Look at the complaints all over the place. So I think putting people into cluster, like I'm not an epidemiologist, I'm not a doctor, but basically this is a public health issue and it's a respiratory virus. It is a killer, of course, we know. And up until date, they've not got an antidote. And they've not got one silver bullet for it. It's just a kind of guess. And then people are recovering. The Prime Minister of England is now battling with his life. So some of these things, these are things that we should be looking at, I mean, the broad picture. And also this issue of fake news. People should stop to politicize this corona issue. Corona doesn't look like color. You have people, they just go to social media, they just send all kind of thing, all kind of message. I mean, it is just not good. Let me also land on this note. One of the hope. Now as civil society and media, we should be giving people hope. Not to come to the media to in fact, because some people, in fact, during this lockdown, there was an old, fairly old lady who died just because of news. He had heart pressure. And he died. They said, we don't get 10K, so, and he just passed away. So my hope, by the special grace of God, this is my conviction, I'm a Christian, is that the COVID case too, when they did the primary test on her husband and 2 children, they all proved to be negative. They test the driver, proved to be negative. They test the cook, the gate man, all of them, including her co-worker. That is a very big hope. This thing is complicating a little, so it's not that nobody's downplaying it, but I mean that is the infinite grace. Because how can you explain this? Because whatever it is, if this woman, if she returns home, if she doesn't talk to anybody, well, at least she will touch.
You're referring to the doctor?
Yes. But they did 3 tests. Which is, I mean, these are good news for us. And this gives us hope. And all of the cases that we are talking of, they are cases these are people who came from out, down to the 7th case. So and it is good. So basically, we hope, and I'm very convinced and persuaded that this thing will pass. It won't tear us. It won't kill us as people think, like what the Ebola did to us. So basically, that's it.
Native Consortium sued NATCOM
Yes.
to court. So why is that?
Yeah, you see, like if I can take the cue from the corona, WHO said, these are the experts. I'm not a doctor, like I said. Epidemiology, people that study public health, they said to fight corona, one of the best killer is communication. To communicate. Now, as we speak, most of these tech companies, these mobile companies, they are reducing their tariff. You go to Kenya, the cost of money transfer to what we call here orange money, when you transfer money from one person just to maintain the social distance, it is free, which is good. And when you talk of digital economy, I was in Washington last year. Kenya took the lead when it's talk of digital economy. In terms of mobile money transfer, Kenya takes the lead globally. Today, they relax all of that. Even the tariff now, you have 2 types of tariff. You have tariff on voice, you have tariff on data. Now, nations like Uganda, they are now relaxing all of those charges on the citizen. At a time like this, when we are fighting corona, this is the time NATCOM just woke up one morning. They said they want to implement the Finance Act of Section 22 of 2020 that says that mobile companies, the act says that they should only allow 10% of free calls and promo. Which we see that as being very laughable, very preposterous, very draconian to the people of this country. And we never bargain for that. Our parliamentarians, why should they make such a law? The issue is this. This is a free market economy. You have right to sell whatever price you want to. When you look at the Act number 9 of the Telecoms Act number 9 of 2006 as amended, Section 52(2) of the very Act states that NATCOM has the right to fix ceiling. Meaning they can say, okay, don't charge beyond 650 euros for 1 minute. That's a cap. It's clear within the Act. It's very crystal clear, Section 52. And in fact, between 52 to 55, it talks about tariff. So the act, by every means, never give them the mandate to fix flaw. What is flaw? Flaw is this 590 that just woke up one morning, walks to work, NATCOM. The next day, they ask the mobile operators that all of you should charge minimum tariff on voice, 590. You should not charge below 590. Where therein, you have to disadvantage companies like QCell and Ceratel that charge below 590. Mark you, QCell used to charge 200 leons on net. QCell to QCell, 200 leons per minute. Off net, meaning when you want to cross call. For instance, Orange to Africell, Africell to cross call. QCell used to charge 400 leons. Ceratel used to charge below that. So now they are telling them, they are indirectly, surreptitiously, they are telling them now that you need to increase that one to 590.
So is it that they are profiting from it?
No, they are not only making profit, it is anti-competitive. How? Mark you, we are in this same country. I bought my SIM for $50. The now generation, my daughter, cannot understand how comes I bought my SIM for $50. When Celtel came to this country, the first generation, the first people who bought their SIM was at $60, $55. We bought it at $50. And at $50, if you don't top up for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they will disconnect you and you have to recharge, pay $20 to reconnect. That's to tell you how dark we were. What killed all of those exploitation? It's because of competition. When Common came, Africell came, they came with free calls. Free calls, fitty fatter, all over the place. People were making free calls. And in fact, by then, that was the time we start to see now the cost of SIM start to drop. They began to charge it in leons now from 10,000. And little did we know, in fact, that SIM card can be as cheap as 1,000 leons. All because of competition. So what am I saying? This is a free market. This is how free market works. Yeah? We saw also on the data. When QCell came, 1 gigabyte, 1 GB was sold for 60,000 euros. QCell came and they sold theirs for 18,000 euros for 1 GB. For goodness sake, this is a free market. This is what they said they will sell. Now assume NATCOM could have said that no, nobody should sell 1 GB below 50,000. Meaning you've already cheated us. So that's the point. So you see, so what that tells you, in fact, that is even closing, is even killing. That's very, very anti-competitive. So meaning if any other company wants to come, you won't penetrate the market. Because mark you, if Africell if they never could have had the free calls, they will never penetrate the market against Celtel. Then the communes, the like of the communes. So that is why we said they went ultra virus to section 52. In fact, section 53 said where there is a disagreement in tariff, that's the very act of section 53, it said the Chief Justice should appoint a tribunal comprised of 4 people. 1, an High Court judge, an accountant, a lawyer, and a telecoms engineer. That is what section 53 said. So we've written a letter to CGA reminding him about section 53, about the violation of it. Because of course it's clear that there's a disagreement, because one is charging below 590 and the other one is charging below above. And in all of this, Orange and Africell never reduced. They are still charging at 6.5. So you see the exploitation. So I mean, that is one part. The second part is to take away our bonuses, the cola, the Wutete, the Sunday, the bonuses, and the promos. For instance, if you used to buy at Wednesday, if you buy Africell, they will give you 100% bonus, right? If you buy for Orange, you buy on Fridays, they will give you 100% bonus. Now all that is gone. So all of that is just is massively exploitative. Now it is biting. People in the village on Sundays, what it does is to buy 5,000 cola, and they will call all their family all over the place on Sundays because it is unlimited. So if you take all of that, I mean, you are killing the people slowly.
Is there a reason why they did that?
Well, I wish you will invite them. You ask them why. Because they said, this from what they are telling the public, they said that, oh, the mobile companies are hiding profit, they are evading tax under the promo and free call. I mean, that is preposterous. That is nonsensical nonsense. These people have been paying tax all this while. I mean, look at the gateway. They pay for gateway fees. They pay all kind of tax. The Income Tax Act, the PAYE, the corporation tax, different tax, the gateway fees, the royalties. They pay all kinds of tax. I mean, 4 different kinds of tax. So if they are evading tax, in fact, when you look at the GDP, when you look at the revenue generation, the mobile companies will get one of the largest chunk of revenue from them than any other mining company. So what's this fools? So we are saying that let them, I mean, suspend it for once. Maybe we can discuss. So now we are in court. I mean, today marks about 13 days. By Friday, we'll go back to court, and we don't know if they file any appearance or whether they file any defense. If they don't file any defense, then it appears as if the court will tell them to just go back to the old status quo. That is all what we want. I've spoken to the minister, including the unions. We've just sacked the old NatCom boss because we had problem with him. Because, I mean, they were not adding up. They are all a narrative, their explanation was just complete bunkum. Oh, it is because of this, because of that. Suspend it. We are fighting a deadly virus now. Let people have free call. Make communication cheaper. And mark you, globally, mobile companies are making money now like never before. Because the orange money transfer, during this lockdown, everybody wants to send money for his or her relative all over the place. I mean, you look at the turnover, it's huge. So maybe the mobile companies could have said, okay, I will give you guys for this 3 days lockdown free call. Just subscribe 1,000, you have free call. You never know. But because of the 590 floor, it's just make it impossible. So that is why we took them to court.
Thank you very much, Mr. Edmund Abu. That was very educative. We learned a lot, and thank you very much for your work that you've been doing.
COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by a new coronavirus introduced to humans for the first time. It is spread from person to person, mainly through the droplets produced when an infected person speaks, coughs, or sneezes. These droplets can land in the mouths or noses of people who are nearby. These droplets are too heavy to travel far in the air. They only travel approximately 1 meter and quickly settle on surfaces. This is the reason person-to-person spread is happening mainly between close contacts. The exact time that the virus can survive on surfaces is not yet known. So it is wise to clean surfaces regularly, particularly in the vicinity of people infected with COVID-19. Hands touch many surfaces, which can be contaminated with the virus. You should therefore avoid touching your eyes, nose, or mouth, since contaminated hands can transfer the virus from the surface to yourself. When coughing or sneezing, cover your mouth and nose with the bend of your elbow or use a disposable tissue. If a tissue is used, discard it immediately into a closed bin. The most effective way to prevent the spread of the new coronavirus is to clean your hands frequently with an alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. This will eliminate the virus if it is on your hands. Stay healthy and prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Welcome back. You're still watching NewsWatch Online TV News Hour with me, Maria Tudukuri. Just after the lockdown, citizens across the capital city, Freetown, cried over transportation constraints.
Normally, as for me, the area where we come out for camp inside because before they left this morning, after 5 o'clock, this morning I don't cap and I pray the super prayer, coming and move to the power by the camp at all. I don't left now 6 o'clock, I don't come now junction day. I did it over 1 hour. We imagine by then 6, I did it up to 7. They wait some of the camp to come. So and you get the transport really for pay for camp. For me, for one go get to Canada 3,000 as a pay. But it's like then it cost me something like 9,000. because I take a halfway. Because that 3,000 day, then 10 and then now, not going to get direct transport, but take a halfway. So you really money. You owe the money for let you get the transport to the rush back. There's some man they lost phone, some man they lost money. The next thing in the all, you really money we pay, but all the other terms.
Right now, we are here, we paying for transport. Way long time and we can't see right now. They don't increase prices, then they keep fuel sector. Although yes, the way long time right now. So right now we're paying for transport business, how we really move from one place to another. Even for the education business, everything they don't just close because of this year. So I'm not going to know how my way to pay for this. We are the common Calvary. So like how people like at the grab 5 o'clock in the morning, we make our way to get transport one and we take 1 hour. So like yes, because particularly the market side. Or we come up outside, we can put for market transport. All anything we can buy is price. And then the other as I said for this lockdown, pepper don't have pepper office in Ireland, they sell at 5,000. All to the ace of, well, including the mango office in Ireland, we have not to cover the country. All go there to them for buy. Down to the but they charge 25, 20. 15 last, buy no buy, go sell now, sell for them. So how long transport back home? Where right now, this one suffer for transport from this money to over, or let get transport for both sides. No, because people right transport.
Social Linkages organization responsible for advocating for drug users have organized a sensitization tour to 2 district headquarters in Sierra Leone to sensitize drug users on COVID-19 and how to prevent it.
We come on social linkages for youth development and child link. Now, an organization where they work with drug users then in Sierra Leone. And we advocate on behalf of drug users then in this country that waiting the general population entitled to, 90 drug users therefore entitled to. So we see and say this COVID-19, now Peter we don't start up. We be there McKinney yesterday. Today we there both. We want to reach out to this population. When Ebola become, nobody they not become for can talk to people in a ghetto. So we see and say the ghetto people have respect. The ghetto people have right to their health, they have right to their human rights. And that makes this organization day. The headquarters they Freetown, we get an office now Boya and we get an office now McKinney. What take out we for more reach out to now this COVID. If they are in New York today, drug don't take COVID don't take the COVID don't take New York. New York na street we get in a place where the street get a lot of gangsters there, a lot of drug peddling. But the drug users are more the COVID-19 don't hit. Why? Because they don't get strong immune system. So we don't want that happens to new brothers then. When we send a part of this ghetto accommodation. One, we advise you now, just like how the Ministry of Health, the WHO, procedures they say was hand. Now for once more. Anything where you do, wash your hand. Physical, social distance. Make we distance we say. COVID not like how Ebola be. COVID they say COVID where you get contact with person. Now through that contact then you get the COVID. Everybody presently where they take tramadol, ibuprofen when I pain medicine, relief, more gun and drugs. Why? Because then drugs they all taken at the immune system in the heat. If you get COVID, your immune system low, they low. The COVID they will kill you.
Don't learn how to protect myself and my nation, how to guide myself to do what's putting in the country, who all my aware about. They don't can sensitize me more. I believe so if undergo the rules they more not able to affect to all things in the country. So I learned a lot. I get for the past the message. More the one impact where they contribute towards the sick. When I'm more that option, distance sitting, I'm on a note how to move. So I believe say if I improve anything, it will guide more towards the sickness.
This is correct. Plenty people dey take us na politics. Go to politics, so.
Don't put up on it. Go to politics, so. Go to politics. And the sick in day. The sick in day. I don't see about two phone. When a man will be the outside country, when I gonna be there. When I'm a good friend, he show me a two phone. Show me the seat. So from that tell you show me the seat. I beg you to the seat.
Because from where we get this information and we don't see reality at the ground, we don't get it first case here, we don't get any group we target young people and the get to. And the first group is we don't target the young people and the get to. We don't count soup, condom and Veronica bucket. We like a big size Veronica bucket for the young people there. Teach you how you live inside this coronavirus stage. One, because not anybody gets the chance to listen radio or we get phone or on social media. But these are the best way when the message will reach the last person or the layman at the last corner. Like when they don't come to face to face and be bothered there, when bother they come to face to face, they tell you message, they believe than either you send up a phone or go on television, you talk. But you can't at the ground, you see what's happening at the ground, and you can't tell me what I for do, what will prevent myself, and will get contact with coronavirus. I believe saying that the right message.
Thank you very much, viewers, for watching NewsWatch Online TV News Hour with me, Maria Tudukoi. Please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and to follow us on our Facebook page, which are both NewsWatch Online TV SL. Till next time, goodbye and stay safe.